Dum 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 dum. Yes, so Hairless here. Today we have our fourth Ankudinova reaction. This is Personal Jesus, the original song by Depeche Mode, and this performance is from the show called The Show Must Go On, which is the same show of my first Diana reaction, which was Can't Help Falling in Love. This one, Personal Jesus, was recommended to me a number of times, and I was quite surprised to see that song actually. I love the song. Depeche Mode are great in my opinion. My family really loves Depeche Mode. I grew up with this song, Personal Jesus, so I know it very, very well. The original song has some very interesting musical elements, so I wonder how Diana will treat them in this performance. The original is, it's a super iconic song, instantly recognizable. You know, some of the really recognizable aspects of it, the opening. Reach out, touch faith. And then the main musical motif that follows. And then there's one section that always really stood out to me, and I'm not sure if I like it or if it's my least favorite part of the song. Overall, it's a very bass-heavy song. I think of it as kind of quite a dark song musically. It's one that makes your face go. But this is Diana, and from the 3 times I've heard her sing, 2 were covers of famous songs that I know, and she completely changed them, so it's probably safer for me not to have any expectations and to just get straight into it and see what she does with it.
There's no Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers, someone who cares. Woo! You rule. There is no Jesus. Someone to hear your prayers, someone who's there. Reach out, touch faith.
Right, wow. What a cool and interesting and different performance. Yeah, I mean, I love the song and there's quite a few things here that I really like that she's done with it. So let's go back to the opening. If you don't want to hear my thoughts, please skip to the timestamp here. So in the introduction, I played a bit of the opening because I said it was very iconic. She does not have that opening. We don't have that line, reach out, touch faith. And in the original, after that opening comes bass and beat.
Reach out, touch faith.
Diana does something completely different and it grabs our attention, it grips us. We have high chords repeated in the piano, no beat. Her voice is exposed, there's less to focus on, so we focus on her. She's performing in the same key as the original song, which means that this entry of hers here is low. That contralto voice of hers is being put to good use immediately, right from the off. I get the feeling this is something she likes to do. We saw a similar thing with Wicked Game. That was just one note difference. She opens straight on this E3, which is widely recognised as the bottom note of a contralto's range. We know to expect a polyphonic voice from her now, so I think her use of whispers in the backing track is very cleverly done. You know, it's good for creating that kind of eerie, creepy effect. It's not the type of dual voice we're expecting, which throws us off a bit. And I know there'll probably be someone saying, no, this is her voice as well. No, these are whispers that are added into the backing effect. The breath of the whispered voice comes in before her voice. Also, to enhance this kind of eerie effect are the visuals. It's just her, darkness, red light. Red is a colour associated with quite a few bad things. Blood, death, the underworld, desire. And then a bit further on, we had this really interesting, again, eerie sounding instrument playing. Which again reminds me of Wicked Game, where we heard a similar thing, and I was saying how in terms of standard tonality, in terms of standard notes, the instrument used there is in between. It's between a G sharp and an A. You see how it's not quite... And it's the same thing here. It's this free-flowing nature of this instrument, this resonating instrument that's being played. It can move between standard notes at every single possible micronote in between. It is subtle, but it's enough to kind of throw us off the harmonic roots at this point. But it's good, and she does it at a very clever moment, because just after that we get these repeated chords. That's a complete rhythmic contrast to what we had before, the complete opposite. And the chords themselves are not what we're expecting. The chord that we're hearing here is a peculiar kind... I first thought it was B major, but listening again and it seems to be more like a G minor 7th chord, which is like this. Because of the bass note in there. Without the bass, then it would be B major. Anyway, so if I'm to bring that bass note up, it would be here. And then the note that we hear in the eerie instrument is this one here. You know, it's these clash between these two notes. And then she sings that reach out, touch faith part that famously opens the original song.
Reach out, touch faith.
Her voice suits it so well, I think. And she's inverted it as well. So instead of do 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 do, she goes do 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 do. And then again, a bit later on, we get these quick, rapid chords again. I do like it when they come in. They come in and then slide chromatically down to the chorus. Sorry, and then I also need to point out the face that I was talking about earlier. He is making exactly what I was talking about. I guess that is point proven. Alright, this is very, very cool. Let's continue to the end. Wow, I never thought I'd hear Personal Jesus sung by someone who has that polyphonic vocal ability. It's a gift that just suits this song so well, I feel. And the arrangement as well, it's somehow manages to stay true to the original whilst implementing these own little unique elements. Some of which, the ones that really caught my attention, I'd just like to go over. So on that note here, we get some synths coming in. Almost quite harpsichordy in style. So overall now this is much more in line with the original. It's cool to see how she transitioned from the start, that was nothing like the original, to now this being, you know, quite in sync with the original. Then here we get this. There's that polyphonic element to her voice. It really adds something to the lyrics as well. Reach out, touch faith. Faith is something that is kind of in the ether. You can't measure it, you can't weigh it, you can't see it. Kind of like the polyphonic tones of her voice. We know they're there, we can hear them, but they're just somewhere out there in the ether. And then just after this moment, we get a nice change in the arrangement. As well as visually with the choreography and the lighting, the music has also changed to create a different feel. The most obvious thing being the chords in the upper registers of the vocals. But the less obvious thing that actually really stood out to me is the rhythmic change. If we take an earlier example, let me just play a bit from earlier. You can think of the rhythm as irregular and quite bouncy. Dum ba dum. You know, dum ba dum dum ba, not regular. But then this section that we just got to that has changed. Listen out for the bass part. It's still an important source of rhythmic movement, but it's completely changed. It's now playing equal rhythms. Dum 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 dum. That again is a relatively small change, very subtle. To me, the rhythm that you have at the bottom underneath everything is one of the most important things in creating an overall feel of a performance. Sorry, her voice again. And then just after that as well. I just don't think I'll ever get used to it. Also, from an arrangement perspective, it's worth noting that the piano has now come in at this point as well. Again, super quietly, but it's just an instrument, literally an instrument, but figuratively as well, to add some more rhythmic variety in there. Hear it piddling around up there. And then there was one other thing that stood out to me. Again, it's something rhythmic. I don't know why the rhythms are really standing out to me in this performance. But it's on the words, I will deliver. See how it just sounds a tiny bit different? That's what we call a hemiola. And a hemiola basically means you have 3 beats in the space where there would be 2 beats. So instead of having 1, 2, it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I will Again, a small touch. Add a bit of variety, and it's just temporary, but it works. And then finally, that ending, so cool, it kind of lulls you in. We finish with what is called a perfect cadence, which just means we move from chord number 5 to chord number 1. So in this case, 5, 1. Now, in terms of the original song, there are different endings depending on which version of the original you listen to, but the one that I showed earlier in this video, this is how it ends. Reach out and touch faith. That's quite different to the perfect cadence that we hear with Diana. Yeah, okay, wow, that one, again, unexpected, and I'm so happy about that one. Great song. She did a great arrangement of it, staying true to the original whilst also adding in her own bits. I have now only seen Diana 4 times, but this performance is definitely the one that has the most going on visually. The others were quite reserved visually in terms of choreography. Here, there was all these dancers, quite a lot to look at. Definitely more of like a spectacle, more of a show. But overall, yeah, I think that was a great song, great arrangement. Right, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. As always, let me know in the comments which other reactions to Diana Ankudinova you'd like to see. If you enjoy my content and would like to support me, you can do so by joining the Patreon or YouTube memberships linked in the description below, and I will see you next time.